Hey everybody, and welcome. Earlier this week, I gave you the housing market update for single-family homes in Venice, Florida. And as promised, today I will be going over the condominium sales numbers so you can see where prices and sales are and know the market conditions here locally. Are Venice condos in a seller's or buyer's market? That is the question. I'm Robin Vaccai, broker-owner of Beach Bay Real Estate here in Venice, Florida, and a certified financial planner for 25 years. You're watching Suncoast South, where I share the real story of the Venice housing market and surrounding areas that I cover, neighborhoods, communities, cost of living, and what it's like to live here. Now, let's get into the current market conditions for Venice condos. So, active listings for condos in Venice. The current 2025 year-to-date average, 302 condos on the market for sale. Historic 10-year average, 2015 through 2025, that number averages 158 condos. So right now, the Venice condo inventory is nearly double the normal supply. 302 for sale, 158 is the historic average. Now, let's shift quickly from listings to sales and see what buyers are actually doing in this market. So the current numbers for 2025 average about 35 sales per month. And if you were paying attention, I just said we have 302 active listings. The historic 10-year average of sales is 45 sales per month. So we are at 77% of the long-term historic average sales. 35 units are selling, 45 is about the normal. So now, as I touched on in the single family home market update, we once again have what I call the quitters. And what do I mean by the quitters? I mean sellers who gave up trying to sell their condos. They canceled, withdrew, or expired. In other words, condos that left the market unsold. And some of those left because they weren't getting any showings, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So in the past 12 months in Venice, 422 Venice condos quit the market. So by that I mean they canceled. That was 193 listings canceled, totally gave up, told their agent forget about it, took their listing off. 27 were withdrawn conditional, and what that means is they still had some contractual arrangement with their brokerage firm that they hired under the listing agreement. And these are just different statuses that they appear in MLS, where I pulled all this data from. 202 units expired unsold. So whatever the term of their listing agreement was, that condo didn't sell during that term. So there we go, 422 condos quit, and we have 302 active. Now, in fairness, some of those sellers could have already come back on the market. But my guess is most of them gave up, especially during the summer months, once we get past, that spring selling season. And I can tell you when I look, we see a huge number that hit the market as expired, canceled, withdrawn in June and July. So June was the peak. So even if half of these quitters, the 422, come back on the market in season, which is when a lot of people do that. They figure, okay, we're going into the winter months, which is our busier buying season. That's going to be another 200 plus condos adding to supply, 211 in fact. So the current summary, active listings 302, sales averaging about 35 per month, putting us at inventory of about 8.6 months of inventory. Certainly not a balanced market. That is a buyer's market for condos. So now let's go back to this. If half of the quitters return to the market, that's 211 more listings, and the current inventory stayed static. Let's assume no new listings came on the market, but the people that gave up come back. Let's say that's 302 plus 211, putting us at about 513 listings on the market. And let's assume sales stay flat at 35 a month, which is probably not likely, but I'll get into that. That would put us at over a year's worth of condo inventory. It would take 14 plus months for all of that inventory to sell at that pace. Definitely a buyer's market. Now, let me just put this in perspective. Historically, over the last 10 years in Venice, condo sales during the winter months in January, they've averaged 38. This is a 10-year average again. February sales have averaged 46. March sales have averaged 70 units per month. So that gives us a seasonal average between January and March, our busier selling season, of 51 condos a month, which is certainly higher than the 35 we're currently seeing. Now, let's get back to that scenario where sales pick up during the winter months. So let's assume sales pick up to 51 and we still have the quitters that come back on and that same 513 new number of inventory. That puts us at 10 months of inventory versus 14. So either way, we're going to have still a continued buyer's market for condos in Venice. So if you're a condo buyer, opportunities abound because there's too much inventory and too few buyers. So that translates to opportunity to pick up a good deal if you're looking for a condo. I think you're in a good position to say, hey, here's where the average sales are. This is what I'm offering. If you're a condo seller, proper pricing is essential based on all of what I just told you, because the market has shifted and it's shifted quite a bit from the peak in 2022. So let's go to prices now. The Venice, Florida median sale price for condos in 2025 has been $250,000. And I want to put that in perspective. In 2019, that number was $171,950. So in 2025, we're at $250,000. Those prices shot up during the pandemic and hit a peak of $335,000. Again, this is the median number in 2022. So we went from $171,950 in 2019 on up to $335,000 in 2022. Believe it or not, that's almost a 95% increase in prices over that short window. Now, from the peak in 2022, when prices were at $335,000, we're down now $250,000. That's the new median sale price. So we're down a little over 25% from their 2022 peak. 2025 running numbers for condo sales. The median price in 2025 so far has been $259,000, averaged January through August of this year, and the average price has been $266,000. So even with prices down a little over 25% from the peak in 22, if you bought before 2021, you should still be well ahead of the game with Venice condos. Though I want to talk, and I'll talk a little more about this in another video. If you are in a community that's a high-rise condo and we have new laws about structural integrity and requirements for engineering, again, I'll talk in another video, you could have large special assessments that are negatively affecting the value of the condo, because if the condo fees went up from, let's say, $300 a month to $1,000 a month, and that has happened, those prices will come down. But in general, if you own a condo that's not in an older building and you bought it before 2021, you should be okay. If you bought between mid-2021 and early 2023 and you are now trying to sell, it is very likely that you are underwater and will not get your money back on that sale. And I'm just trying to share with you the facts of where we are in the market. So the wrap up is, are Venice condos back to a seller's market? No way. Inventory is nearly double normal. Sales are down and over 400 sellers quit and gave up trying to sell. That's the real story. So in the next few months, we'll see what happens as seasonal buyers return. And if I'm correct that inventory increases, as it always does during the winter months, you'll probably see a bunch of stuff hitting the market in January. That's always what happens. I'm Robin Vaccai, the broker owner of Beach Bay Real Estate here in Venice, Florida. If you found this information helpful, and even if you didn't find it helpful, please post a comment and tell me what you'd like to see or hear, you need to know more of. And please subscribe to the channel for ongoing updates. Visit suncoastsouth.com for more resources. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. Bye for now.